All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the Rec Poker Podcast. This is our weekly chats interview edition, but we also have a weekly forums edition that's all about strategy. I'm Jim Reed, your host for both. I go by Bluff Sterini in the home game and at Rec Poker Jim on socials, and I have the best freaking job in the world talking poker with my friends here on the Rec Poker Podcast every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern live on YouTube. You can join us for free and win a prize just for showing up. Now, I'm very excited. We're going to be talking to Barbara Jones Zangaro from the Orleans Casino and the fantastic organization Poker Gives in just a moment. First, I'm proud to share we're brought to you by Running Aces. They are the official sponsor of the Rec Poker Podcast. You can find out more about them at runaces.com. Most of what we do here is free. We're a largely volunteer-based organization, so we really depend on support from our sponsors and from our premium members who take part in our training material and study opportunities for only $22 a month. And you can sign up for free anytime at rec.poker. All it takes is an email address and a smile, and we have a ton of free resources for recreational poker players around the world. But you know, we love supporting food banks around here ourselves, so if you want to check out the perks of our premium membership, just make a donation of any amount to your local food bank, send us the receipt, and we'll happily send you your first month of premium for free as a way of saying thanks for helping out your fellow humans. Now, speaking of fellow humans, you get used to my voice because they let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one person. It takes a crew to make all the magic happen around here. We call our leadership panel the Wrecking Crew. If you want to learn more about me or the rest of the Wrecking Crew, go to rec.poker/crew or just listen up because you're going to meet a few of them here tonight on the show. I've got Scott Lum, Joe Coolis, John Somsky, and of course our invisible producer, Rob Gardner, in the booth with me. None of them are having as good a day as I am, though, because I am making a chili. I do a chili a few times a year. It is an art form. It's not a science, which is just the kind of cooking that I like. I use up all sorts of old ingredients, whatever's around the house, any vegetables. I thaw out a bunch of meat, head over to like all the 4 different shops in Coburg and find whatever's on sale that day. And I've got this huge freaking pot that my wife got me several years ago. And so I'm loving life. I'm in chili mode today. Yeah.
Jim, I have a question.
Hit me.
Being in Canada, is moose meat involved? Is this a moose chili?
I have never actually added moose to the chili, but I'm never say never. I'm pretty adventurous.
Okay.
Have you used any ingredients from your basement?
Joe, I don't know what you're talking about. So I have no comment on that. Just in case of cops listening. No, of course, my basement is not a kill room dungeon where bad people go to end their days, as I'm so tired of having to remind everyone. Just a perfectly normal basement with lots of room for storage and that kind of thing. Okay, but we have some good, exciting news that has nothing to do with chili or basements or anything at all. The WSOP is here, and Scott Lum, you got a chance to go play in a couple events. Tell us about one in particular. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, I just cashed the Colossus last week.
Yes.
Had a great time. Made it to day 2, and this is only the 3rd time that I've cashed in a bracelet event, so I'm really jazzed. But the neat thing about it was throughout day 1, I really worked on my mindset, made sure that, I was feeling energized on the breaks, was feeling really refreshed. I went off to the side, would evaluate, how I was playing, what my table dynamics were like, how to exploit those table dynamics before I started. So that really helped propel me throughout the entire tournament. It was just an unfortunate run out at the end, but other than that, I had a really great time just playing really solid poker.
Nice. And a third, number 3 tournament WSOP bracelet cash. That's take that, like no doubters can bring their game to you. Like 1, maybe if you luck box your way through, 2 could be a coincidence, but congratulations, man. Your skill edge is obviously showing through. Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And Joe Coolis, you've also had a bit of a roller coaster of a day, but it did not involve cashing in a WSOP bracelet event. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, my number of cashes at the WSOP remains at a solid 0, and will probably remain a 0 for a long time. So, we look up to many of the Wrecking Crew members, and I just have to add another one.
There you go.
So no, but that's not where my luck came from. So it's actually happened about a week and a half ago, because I've been at a conference a couple of weeks. But I had a day that was for the highest of the highs to the lowest of the lows. Hopefully Rob can put the pictures up. I was able to go, and we got a new puppy. That's not the puppy.
A new puppy. That's exciting.
Yeah, well, yes, it was a fun day. We went to Vermont. We drove all the way up, but the picture that's up there is actually the picture of what happened on the way home with the pup in the car. And so, in addition to buying a new dog, I get to buy a new car. So I'm kind of having the ups and downs of life all smashed into the same day. But
well,
anyway,
everybody's
okay. Yeah, everybody's fine.
I was gonna say, yeah. And you get a puppy story that'll last a lifetime. Who was in the car when it happened? Who went on this trip? Was it you and your wife and?
It was the whole family and the dog.
The whole family? Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
And how did the dog take it? Because that can be kind of a traumatic experience for a new puppy.
So when you're on a 4 to 4.5 hour drive all the way down from Vermont, hoping to God that you can actually make it to the house so that the dog can relieve itself, but you end up waiting on the side of the highway for 2 hours, generally the dog will relieve one end, and then B, his stomach gets upset, and so he throws up. And so then you have to drive in a cop car and then an Uber all the way home with dog poop and dog vomits. Kind of, and so we gave a good tip for the Uber driver.
Yes.
Because he's fine. I mean, he's good. The dog was fine.
That's a fun story. I think on balance, I would have preferred Scott's day.
Yeah. It's funny. I had the choice, and for some reason, this is what I chose. There's that dog.
Okay. Well, that is a very freaking cute puppy. Oh my god. Okay, I'm flip flopping. Now you got me. I don't know what's up and down anymore. All right. Well, let's get Barbara in here, and let's get back to poker. I'm so excited. This is such a fun guest, Barbara. We've both supported food banks for a long time. I know we both obviously love poker. You've been a fixture at the Orleans for quite a while now, and at Poker Gives, as I alluded to off the top. First of all, I just want to say thanks for joining the Rec Poker Podcast. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And I don't have a lot of time to look at podcasts, but I got to tell I did some history, so I can be slightly prepared for this dynamic crew.
Oh, that's great. Well, did you see anything that alarmed you before we get into the interview? This is a safe space in your research. Oh,
yeah. I'm scared to death to come on this because see how much I really don't know.
Well, let's start with sort of. Oh, yeah. No, Joe, jump in. What was on your
I was just going to say, join the club. I mean,
yeah. That's right. It is the Rec Poker Podcast, so the stakes are low. Don't sweat it. I want to actually get right into, you've worn a few hats in the poker world over the years. I mentioned you're involved at the Orleans at very high level, and of course at the Poker Gives organization. I know you also enjoy poker as a player. How do you define your own role in the poker world today?
Well, I kind of like to be an ambassador of poker because poker is such a great game. It brings people together of every nationality. And I mean, sometimes it's not so nice, but for the most part, it just warms my heart when I see people sitting at the table who speak different languages or from different cultures, and yet they're united over a poker game. And so I really try to, I guess, be a light in the poker room, just to, embellish that sense of community.
I love that. And certainly it's something that the poker world needs more of, that light shining around. It is an odd mix, the poker world of team players and lone wolves and excellent, wonderful, generous people, and then also some bad actors. And I think it can be hard for new players in particular to kind of know what's the right way to act, who to look up to, who to emulate, and that kind of thing. So I love that. That's a great answer. We're gonna move right into our speed round. So I know you're driving. So first of all, put most of your bandwidth at 10 and 2. Drive safely. But I also do want to kind of put you on your back foot a little bit. Here is our opening the action speed round. So Barbara, I'm looking for answers that are honest, quick, and short and fast. And if you can't do that, you can say pass. But otherwise, we're going to jump right in, and we'll start with an easy one. Are you ready for us?
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. All right, opening the action. The first question, what is your favorite poker hand?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Your favorite poker hand?
Pocket sevens. I was born on 7/7.
Oh, nice. Happy early birthday, by the way.
Thank
Is
you.
poker a gamble or a skill game?
I think it's a little bit of both.
What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
Oh, pass.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes,
Is Ace King a drawing hand?
100%.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Do you prefer dogs or cats?
Dogs.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
Spiders and snakes. Oh, that was 2.
I'll take 2. Should vacations be lazy or busy?
A little bit of both.
What's one thing you complain about in your life?
Nothing.
What is your favorite restaurant in the Orleans food court?
Oh, in the food court, probably Sbarro's.
There's a yellow light coming up. Look out. Do you slow down or speed up?
Honestly, speed up.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
One horse-sized duck.
All right. Slow rolls, yes or no?
No.
What about pizza? What about pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Name one musical artist you enjoy.
Oh boy, a lot. Megan Trainor.
In the war. Okay, good answers. We are getting this down to a science. Nicely done, Barbara. We're going to let our proprietal algorithm run in the background here and create a score for you that we'll share at the end of the show. But I think you should be very excited. That was an excellent performance. All right.
Good. I'm sweating it.
No, you nailed it. I want to remind our YouTube chatters, if you've got any questions for Barbara, just type them into the chat. And we're also going to be playing Stake Study Stack at the end of the show. So I'd love some names of players or tournament directors or other people adjacent to Barbara's life that you think would be fun to play Stake Study Stack with her here. And of course, I see some great folks in the YouTube chat already. It's the week of moms. We've got Kate Ibbotson in the YouTube chat, who is Stewie's mom. And we've got my own mom, Martha Reed, in the YouTube chat. So I hope you guys get along. Kate and Martha, you guys have a lot in common, along with all these other fun folks in the YouTube chat out there. So yeah, get your questions in, get your suggestions in, and stick around. We're going to do a food bank raffle at the end of the show to give away some real prizes. That's brought to you by Ramp Poker. All right, Barbara, the first question in the real interview, we got you through the opening the action crucible. It seems like the Orleans stands out from other poker rooms in Las Vegas. What do you think makes it different? And what do you think contributed to it being voted the best poker room in Las Vegas?
Well, I think the best poker room for many reasons. First of all, it's free parking, free valet, parking is convenient, food court's convenient, restrooms are convenient, and it's heavily supported by locals. And, you know, I don't care what you say, even if you're on the strip, you still have to have a local base. And so we definitely love our locals, and but we love our tourists as well. And we have we've developed a great reputation, you know, from tourists who have come, and you know, they refer their friends.
Yeah, Barbara, this is Scott Lum. So I've been playing. I just recently moved to Vegas about 6 or 8 months ago, but even before that, even as a regular tourist coming into Vegas, Orleans has always been my favorite poker room, and I would say maybe be a third to half of all the tournaments I play has been at the Orleans. What attracts the Orleans, both the recreational players and the professionals? I mean, I played with Kathy Liebert there. I played with Neil Farrell. So it attracts, a wide variety of players. And why do you think they come to Orleans to do that?
Well, it's funny because there was a chat on 2x2 a long time ago about the Orleans as the best place to prepare yourself for the WSOP because of the wide range of players, of the skill of players. And for those of you who don't know, the Orleans originally hosted the original Mike Sexton Tournament of Champions. So it used to have one of the best tournaments ever up in the ballroom. I used to fly in to play at the Orleans. So it still draws that. And we have a huge mixed game following. And I think, mixed games are the wave of the future. And, right now they just called me and they're like, we need dealers. It's our horse tournament today. And they're already at like 20 tables and they're like, we don't have enough dealers. Well, 20 times 8 is 160 players, folks. So it's just horse, torse, triple draw. And the other thing is, and I'll go back to my role as a tournament supervisor. I listen to the players and I take their feedback and I take it sincerely. Yes, I have a business to run, and yes, I have a boss to answer to, and yes, we have a profit and loss statement, but I also want to make it a great value and a great experience for the players. And I think, Eric Ewing took over the helm a couple years ago, and he has really developed a great team of people. No room's perfect. We all have our strengths and our opportunities. But he's really developed a great room, and I'm very proud of the staff at the Orleans, the tournament staff, the floor staff, and I think we definitely try to focus on that player and try to make the best experience they can have. I know I do.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the Sunday Special is my favorite tournament in all of Vegas. I mean, throughout the entire year, I scheduled the things that I do around playing the Sunday tournament every Sunday at the Orleans because it's so well run.
It's a
Yeah,
fantastic tournament. And I got to
it
give
is.
kudos to Ryan McNeil. He's the one who, started that tournament and it just took off. And it's a great idea. It's a great tournament, has a huge following. I mean, even on Father's Day, we got over 500 players. So,
Wow. Yeah, that's great. And because they have so many players, the prize pools are way up there. So which makes it very attractive.
oh, yeah,
So
for sure. I
yeah.
mean, we're at close to 200,000 every week for the WSOP.
Right.
So,
Yeah. And as I look around at the room, there are a very high percentage of women. Probably a higher percentage than I see. At other tournaments and things. What do you think it is that attracts women to the Orleans, and then what can we do to attract more women to poker?
well, that's a great question. And um, I got to give my hats off to Lupe Soto, who founded LIPS, Ladies International Poker Series, and Linda Johnson, and Jan Fisher, and Barbara Enright, and Susie Isaacs, and all those women that came before me. Um, they really paved the way for women in poker. And, we have a great tournament staff. And on our tournament staff, we have three very strong women who we have myself, we have Christina Henn, who's excellent mixed game players, lover. And we have Sissy Murphy, who used to run Nevada Poker League. And I'm so glad she joined our team because she's a huge asset. And again, it's that welcoming of women into poker. I mean, listen, guys, I started playing in 1995 when the guys at the table were nasty. I'll leave it at that. And we don't tolerate that anymore. And, it's because, and I'm going to give it to Matt Savage too, because he's made it part of the TDA, stop abusing women at the table. Yeah, we're no longer in the kitchen and at home. We're poker players. There are formidable women out.
No, I think we're just having some audio issues. Can you guys hear? Is it just me?
No.
No. Hey, Barb, I don't know if you can hear us, but we're.
Keep coming.
Microphone switched to the background, so.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Hey, Barbara. This is reminiscent of our Maria Ho interview. I think you're. Barbara, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. I think we just had the microphone switched there. I'm sorry if you don't mind picking it up. You were just saying, since here, Scott, maybe you can.
Go ahead.
Just please.
Just recap the last minute because it switched to the background noise.
It was just, there's a lot of people who have really stressed not being rude, vulgar, aggressive, not tolerating abuse at the tables, and welcoming. Like, I know a lot of women come in the room and I just welcome them. And I'm like, look, let me help you out. Let me give you some suggestions. Daniel Negreanu has some great videos on this game. Go watch YouTube videos. And that really makes somebody feel comfortable when they come into a room. Even novice players, everybody comes to Orleans because we spread limit hold'em. And novice players want to start with low limit, low no limit, and low limit games. And so that's why a lot of novice players come to the Orleans, and it's a place to get their feet wet. I did. I mean, Mirage was back in the heyday, went to Mirage to play the 1-5 stud. And, now it's like, go to the Orleans. You want to play limit? You want to play Omaha high-low? Go to the Orleans. And so I think that's very welcoming to the novice recreational player.
Yeah, that's great. So we've got some good questions coming in from the YouTube chat. I just want to remind our YouTube chatters, get those questions in. And of course, we also appreciate any donations through our YouTube chat, through a super chat or a super sticky or a super comment. We really depend on support from our premium members and from other ways that you can support what we're doing. If you go to rec.poker/support, find some ways to help us out there. And of course, getting involved in our Patreon program is also a wonderful way to do it. And we share a portion of all of our donations here from the show with a local food bank as well. So get on in there. Scott, why don't you pick it up with some of these off the felt tips that we were going to ask Barbara about?
Yeah, Barbara, can you hear me? Your video's frozen.
Uh-oh. We might have lost her. Oh, if folks don't know, we had Maria Ho on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and we had a series of technical difficulties with the interview, and we haven't actually released that one yet because it was such a mess getting it together that we have to do some pretty extensive editing. Hopefully that's not the same thing that happens tonight. It does look like Barbara's program has frozen. Maybe she'll come back and join us here in just a moment.
I thought that did get released, Jim.
Sorry, it did get released accidentally. Yeah. Actually, that's funny. I meant to say that this is a good time to talk about it, I guess, while we're waiting here. We did post it because there was a kind of a miscommunication about editing stuff out. And so we did release it, and then a few hours later realized that it had been released and pulled it. So some people may have heard a very, very rough interview with
I just wanted to make sure I didn't, blast off and become psychotic all of a sudden, because I'm like, wait a minute. I listened to that video, that audio.
You did. Yes, and my apologies to anyone who actually listened to the whole thing, because that interview was tough. That was tough to get through. So yeah, we're gonna try. we're gonna try and release it again sometime. Oh, here we go. All right, I think we've got Barbara back. Here she is.
Hey guys, sorry, it's 110 degrees and it's Monday night. We're out serving the homeless, so the iPhone
Yes.
got a little too hot.
Okay, well
Oh
that's
my
all
God.
right. Stay cool and comfortable if you can. And I want to talk about the poker gives and some of your fantastic work there as well a little later in the show. But Scott, sorry, you were getting into some on the next question with Barbara here.
So what are some of the common tips, common mistakes that you see recreational players make when they come to play a big tournament in Vegas? So I see a lot of times, in the tournaments, there's some very common things that frustrates these players. They're used to the home games. They're used to playing in these local tournaments that are not, the rules are different when they come to Vegas. What are some of the common mistakes that you see, and what can players do to remove those mistakes?
Okay, I hope you can hear me because I'm getting a pretty weak
Yes.
signal.
No,
Okay.
that sounds good.
So the problem is they watch too much TV. Did you hear that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
They
Yep.
watch too much TV. So it's like, I'm going to call and raise you.
Oh.
Nope. Sorry, can't do that. And then, just they see a lot of people. They see a lot of people tanking on TV. And you have to realize that's made for TV. So, am I with you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
You are.
definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so they sit and they tank, and I'm like looking at their hand, and I'm like, you got 7 deuce, throw the damn thing away.
So as a tournament director, you have to deal with a lot of these mistakes. How do you manage that? I mean, on one hand, you're an ambassador to the poker room, but on the other hand, you're in charge of moving the game along.
Well, and that's a very fine line because, sorry, I keep breaking in and out.
No, it's okay.
I always look at the TDA rule says the decision of the floor is final. And, everybody knows the Orleans has a lot of elderly players who, it's, and rec players, it's their first time. Look, guys, it says you're going to receive a penalty. Well, a warning is a penalty. There's my warning. That's your penalty. Do it again. You're going to take a 1 round. But, and this happens a lot, players, a player shoves all in, or they play out a turn. And now it's like, are you going to put this guy's tournament life because he's a novice? And you got to really juggle the rules. And fortunately, I have the respect of a lot of poker players, and at any given table, there's at least 2 or 3 players who know me and know I make a fair decision, trying to keep the integrity of the game, as well as not penalizing somebody because they made a mistake.
Yeah, I like that. That's a great answer. Joe Coolis.
So, Barbara, one of the questions I always have to tournament directors, it stems from I cut my teeth going through undergrad as a bartender, and bartenders need to have, and bars need to have regulars in as much as poker rooms have to have regulars in order to survive. You like the tourists to come in, but they don't provide a consistent income. And the problem with regulars, though, is that you can watch people who tend to be who are destroying themselves. Essentially, they're every day they're drinking too much, and it always makes me think about the players that come into poker rooms as the regulars, who sometimes shouldn't be there. And I'm always fascinated, how do tournament directors manage that? How do you manage a room in a predatory game when you have somebody that's allowing themselves to be taken advantage of.
Well, and as a bartender, you'll know you cut them off. You know, um, there have been many times I've had to pull a player off to the side and just discreetly say, "Are you sure you should still be playing? Can you make sound judgments? You know, maybe you ought to take the night off. Maybe you ought to take some time off. You're on a losing streak." And I do it with a very loving tone. I mean, the one thing that I can say about being a woman in this industry is you kind of have an advantage over guys because you've got that motherly figure. And men tend to respond to that, you know? And it's not just men, it's women too. But, I bring it up and I say, look, I raised two boys. I had a husband. I get it. I understand men. Maybe you need to take some time off. And I don't think I've had, well, I can't say that. I have one guy, unfortunately, that, um, there's always those bad eggs. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to go to police and file a restraining order. I mean, so, we're anytime you're in public service, in the public presence, you got to be careful, and there are those people that just don't take no, or don't accept your ruling, whatever it is, um, and you just gotta you. I just go on with life, You're not going to impact my life, my income. I'm going to continue to do the job to the best of my abilities and make the best decisions I can make. And, here's the other thing as a tournament supervisor, director, whatever you want to call it. Um, I'm humble. If I make a mistake, I'm going to go back to the table and I'm going to say, hey, guys, I've called 5 other people and I probably didn't make the best decision. I apologize, but it was the best decision I could make at the time. I'll know for future. I know that doesn't help you right now, but it was a learning experience. And in poker, there's always gray areas. Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things I noticed in playing in Vegas and playing with Orleans, where you have a lot of tourists coming in, is that people have different experiences, especially playing like in home games, or they're playing in their tournament leagues, things like that. So the rules they find are very different than when they come to Vegas. What are some of the tips that you can give that if you're coming to Vegas for the very first time, and you're going to be playing in this big tournament, what are some tips that you have for recreational players when they come to your tournament?
It's pretty easy. Go to pokertda.com and read the rules.
Yeah.
And then go to whoever your tournament supervisor is and say, do you follow TDA rules or do you follow house rules? And if you follow house rules, how do they differ from the TDA?
Now,
and what I find is,
no, go ahead, Scott. Yep.
No, one of the things that I find, especially with the TDA rules, the most important paragraph is player responsibilities. Yeah, so I mean, the TDA has a ton of great information, but under player responsibilities, if they just follow, word by word through that one paragraph, they solve a lot of the problems that you probably face, in your tournaments.
100%. And I always, in my opening announcements, I always say it is your responsibility to protect your hand and your action. And I remember my father-in-law, when he first taught me to play poker, he said, you don't let that hand go. If you got a winning hand, you don't let it go till that dealer pushes you the pot. And I find so many people, they don't expose their cards, they misread their hand, or they muck their hand. And the other player's like, I'm the only one with a live hand. Don't let your cards go. You got to protect your hand and your action. And your action, that's a whole nother thing is, hey, wait, I haven't acted yet. That happens a lot, you know? And if 3 people down the road have acted from you, that's you haven't protected your hand or your action. I'm not gonna allow you, you know, depending on what it is, I may limit what you can do. Or even if your hand is still live.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate here just for
Okay.
fun, because that's what I like to do.
I
I found that I found that poker players are like golfers. Actually, they're about as bad or worse than golfers in terms of finding the minuscule most movement percentage measurement of what rules are, and then slamming everybody at the table and saying, well, these are the rules and you did this. And let's be honest, the hardest thing about going to a casino is worrying you're going to mess up and have people yell at you. So how do you balance that? You know, I guess there's a part of me that says, well, we should actually look at the spirit of the rules much more so to make it more welcoming, because people have a general idea of things. It's like you said something earlier, I call and raise, right?
Right.
And we limit people who don't know that to making that bet. And that's not a very welcoming thing to do, because then you're like, oh, I'm an idiot. And it's kind of shaming. How do you balance those things, I guess, is the question I can offer you.
Well, you know, it's funny because we just had a PLO tournament, and the new rule is if you put out your call, you are limited to a min raise. And I had to enforce that rule. And I just said, if you want to know what the pot is, ask the dealer. If you have a question, ask the dealer. There are times when there is that fine line, though, where you make a difference of, okay, listen, I'm going to let it happen this time. And a lot of times I get flack for that. But I'm like, guys, this guy's never played a tournament. You want novice players. It's good for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't embarrass this guy. And there's been times I've had to pull people off the table and say, listen, we all know you know the rules. In fact, I'll say, you probably know them better than I do. Isn't true, but but you know, I'll say you probably know them better than I do. But right now, I'm the TD. Unless you want to wear a suit, you know, unless you want to dress up. And I gotta give a shout out because they put Alan Kessler in a suit. Did y'all see that?
I saw that. Yeah, that's right.
That was pretty funny. But you know what? It's until you see things from everybody's perspective, it's easy to judge. It's easy to criticize. Come up with the solutions. Try not to be so judgmental. And I mean, I live my life that way too. I used to be a judgmental person. Not so much anymore. I've been humbled more than I can say.
I like that idea. Oh yeah, sorry, Joe, jump in.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic that you have to deal with, because you have super predators, you know, looking to try to take advantage of every last little rule to punish the prey that they need to survive sufficiently in order for them to continue to have a meal night after night. And you know, I can say when I first went to a casino, it was intimidating. I mean, and you know, I do have a PhD. I can kind of read the rules and kind of figure different things out, but even the little nuances become things of argument at a poker table. And honestly, I find that actually one of the most frustrating things of the game is just having to make sure I have everything set so that nobody decides to call the floor on me for something, some rule divination that Solomon would probably say, I don't know.
I'm gonna piggyback on that, because the forward motion rule, right? Mm-hmm. In some houses, you come forward with chips, they all go in the pot. In some houses, they don't. It's cut and drop, you know. So, and then here's the novice player. The guy comes with a stack of chips, and the novice player's like, I'm all in, or I call, you know, because he's so excited, because he's got a great hand. Now what do you do? Right? and unfortunately, that guy acted out of turn, the new player. So I'm still going to make the guy, you made an aggressive motion. You went forward with chips. I'm going to make you bet. Maybe a min bet, but I'm going to make you bet. Yeah, I don't say it may be a min bet. You're going to bet something. So
I've often thought that actually the best way to eliminate all these problems is eliminate the chips and just have a little computer at the table. And when bets, I mean, you don't see these problems in online poker, right? Everybody knows when the bet's been placed and when it isn't. So
yeah, but what fun is that? Then we don't have things to sit and talk about, right?
All right. Well, I want to just encourage our YouTube audience to start typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat. That's how you get entered into our draw. We're going to give away a free month of premium membership at Rec Poker, or one of our fantastic learning partners. And I just want to remind folks that the reason why we support local food banks here is because it's a difficult time in the world for a lot of people. A lot of people, through no fault of their own, are having a difficult time feeding themselves or their loved ones or people that count on them or their kids. And we're trying to remove the stigma from people just asking for help and accepting help when all they need is a little help. And that's not just at the poker tables, but it's also in life. And so we like to encourage our listeners, if you're enjoying the show, just press pause right now, whip out your smartphone and just Google food banks near me. You'll find some fantastic organizations that can benefit from a few dollars out of your pocket, some volunteer hours out of your week, or some non-perishable food items from your pantry. And it's just a great way to make the world a better place in your own backyard. The ROI on your contribution is really high when you support a local food bank. So I encourage folks, please do support a local food bank. And if you want to get entered into the free raffle here on the podcast to win a free prize at the end of the show, just type the words food bank into the YouTube chat as a way of showing your support. And I just want to shout out that Chad Holloway, who was on the show a little while ago, is doing he's participating in a reality TV show in July called Live to Give, which is about raising money to support charitable causes. And we're going to be donating all of our June food bank donations to Beyond Blessed, which is the food bank that Chad is supporting in the state of Wisconsin. And in July, we'll be making Barbara's own organization, Poker Gives, the recipient of all of our food bank donations through the month of July. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a great cause, and I want to compare notes on that in a sec. First, we've got a question from the YouTube chat. This is from the RRRCCC. Barbara, what is your favorite mixed game?
Pass.
You can give us a top two if you can't decide.
I like Triple Draw. I love Raz.
Right. And do you get a chance to play? And is it sort of like you're in the industry, so is the last thing you want to do when you get off work?
Well, really, with the charity, and I have 11 rescue dogs.
Oh my God.
So I don't have a lot of me time, but I do like to play. I usually don't play much in Las Vegas, just because I don't believe I should play against people who tip me. And,
right, sure.
So I kind of have that. And the only other place right now for me to play is the World Series of Poker. Can't afford that. Or the Golden Nugget is running some great mixed game events. And I just don't have time. So I think Leon's doing some mixed games down at Resorts World. Again, but it's like 816, and it's just not in my budget right now. So my focus really has been on my charity and my dogs.
Hey, Barbara, is your family portrait one of those pictures of dogs playing poker on like velvet or something like that?
It could be. It's usually a picture of me laying on the couch with the dogs on top of me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think you should do that sometime. Is get that velvet, that brown velvet with the dogs playing poker. You should get them all in
I
there.
actually have a great picture of one of my dogs at the poker table and his teeth. He's snarling. I've always said I'm going to put that up as my profile picture.
That's awesome. I love that. So one of the questions that we had was you're in the public poker world, but you're also, as an industry professional, you're kind of behind the curtain of how a poker room is run. What would surprise players to learn about the behind the scenes of running a poker room?
Wow. Probably just all the complaints from the employees.
Oh, really?
It's I always say, and I just tell you a little bit about my history. I was a McDonald's manager for 30 years, almost 30 years.
Wow.
And I have worked since I was 15 years old. And I always tell my employees, don't complain, because you're not the ones who have to clean the bathrooms or clean up other people, and you make a lot more money than they do. So no matter how much somebody gets underneath your skin, don't let them impact your income. So, but the other thing is, you would not believe how much tournament chip sets cost.
Oh, really?
We just spent like $80,000, and we have to buy it's not big enough.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we have to buy. They're like $1 a chip. So guys, stop stealing our chips, because I see them. I see them on the internet for sale. Stop stealing our chips.
All right, we'll make sure that we put that in all caps in the in the show notes.
Good luck with that. I don't.
Yeah, my souvenir.
Yeah.
Speaking of staff, a lot of people in the recreational poker world are kind of curious to sort of like, how do you get started in the poker world? How do you get started working on the floor? How do you get your first job as a dealer? I guess, like, what makes for a good dealer or floor staff? What kind of experience do you want people to have, and how can they start their professional journey in a poker room?
So I'm going to say you have to have broad shoulders and thick skin. And I never went to poker dealer school. I learned from other poker dealers, and I was blessed. I mean, I toured the circuit back in 2006, 2007, and I worked with some of the greatest people in the industry. And I'm very thankful. And there's two great casino dealing schools. I would say Poker Dealers Academy, run by Willie Coleman, and I believe it's West Coast Dealing. They do a great job. When I have their dealers come to my auditions, I can hire a break-in dealer because they know how to deal. I wouldn't waste your money anywhere else. Those are definitely some great dealing schools. I'm not saying they're the only ones, because I don't know. I know there's a lot of people in the industry who have started some pop-up schools, but I would find a poker dealer and I would go to them and learn from them, because they're going to give you all the ins and the outs. And as you work in the industry, I would learn from your peers, learn from your superiors. And even, when I was a McDonald's manager, I had great managers and I had horrible managers. Learn how you don't want to be, learn how you do want to be. You can always learn something from everyone.
That's great. Barbara, we're going to keep you for a few more questions, if that's all right. I know you've got a lot to get up to tonight, but we're really enjoying this interview. I mentioned earlier, if you want to support what we're doing here at Rec Poker, folks, you can go to rec.poker/support. Nothing helps us more than when you become a premium member. for only $22 a month. So I just want to thank a few recent subscribers, a few new members that we get to welcome to the Rec Poker family. Charles Lembo, Patrick Chamberlain, and Steve Burling. So thank you, Charles, Patrick, and Steve. Your $22 a month is going to help us out a lot over here. And if folks want to go to rec.poker/support, they can find out some other fantastic ways to help us out without spending a dollar. Invisible producer Rob Gardner, you're very familiar with the live tournament scene, and a lot of your friends are professional players, a lot of whom are based in Las Vegas. You had a question for Barbara. What's on your mind?
Hey, Barbara, how you doing?
Good.
First, I want to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed every time that I have played at the Orleans with you and Ryan there. I think you guys have always done a great job. I know one thing that my friends have brought up, I think it was 4 years ago, you might know better. The Orleans was struggling with guarantees, and they ended up pulling some of their guarantees. And I know some of my friends have kind of been leery to go back because of that. It sounds like you guys have had some ownership changes in the last couple of years. Can you talk a little bit about what's changed and maybe some things I could tell them that would kind of bolster their confidence for coming back and giving the Orleans another shot?
Well, and even this year, there are casinos out there that are struggling with guarantees. Yeah. And, first of all, you have to find your niche. I think the Orleans has found their niche. And not put a guarantee out there that's just unreachable. I mean, there are some that we take a risk on, and there are some that, we're pretty sure we're going to hit it, but, we hope we're going to hit it. Our biggest problem was we did Mystery Bounty, and we just ate our shorts. I believe our overlay was about $70,000. And wow. For a room like the Orleans, that's not sustainable. So, we have Eric came in. I'm going to give a shout out to Eric Ewing, our poker room manager. Eric came in. He's a tournament player, absolutely loves tournaments. And he really took ownership. And he's like, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And just not putting yourself out there to the point of this isn't our market, I mean, we took some flack because our main event this year, the Orleans has always been a low buy-in room. And this year, Matt Savage is texting me right now. That's kind of funny. We upped our guarantee or our buy-in on our main event this year. Normally we're around $400, $600. We went to an $800 buy-in, but we did it twofold because one, we don't have the space and we don't have the chipset. I mean, you got to see, it's just like our Sunday special. You mentioned earlier, it's your favorite tournament, right? Well, it's normally a $200 buy-in with a $100 add-on. Well, we went to a $300 buy-in with a $100 add-on because last year it was a 2-hour wait to get into that tournament, And so what do you have to do to appease the most people you're never going to please 100% of the people 100% of the time. So what do you do to appease the majority and yet keep the minority in mind? So I think the Orleans offers a great variety during the summer of, we have $125 Chip Chop Survivor at 10 p.m. If you want to come play our nightly, it's $200. In this economy, I got to say $200 can be a lot for a lot of people. But in the poker industry, when you got these other places running $800 minimum buy-ins, $1,100 minimum buy-ins, that's not our forte. We don't go for that. The mixed game community, our regular mixed game tournaments weekly, we're the only casino that runs 6 days a week. We run mixed games, $150 buy-in. We take it up to $240 during the summer. Why do we do that? Because space. We just we don't have the space. I told you earlier, they're blowing up my phone because we need dealers. People love mixed games. And, I hate to say you increase the price to limit the field, but every operator does it. Every single operator does it. You can talk to Aria, you can talk to Bellagio, you can talk to MGM, you can talk to all of them. They only have so much space. We all know poker rooms are not the casino's favorite.
Right.
So they only give us so much space to work with. So we have to figure out where's our best buy-in to reach the most people and best use of our space. And I think we found that. We've done a good job with it. So as far as the original questions of guarantees, we found our niche. I don't see us pulling guarantees.
That's a great answer. We've actually got a couple more questions from the YouTube chat here. This one comes from Hubie. He says, what about making limiting the number of participants so that there was a total number that were allowed to enter in the tournament? Is that something you've looked at?
I really hate to do that because you could, but I think if you can make it there by the end of registration, then you should be able to play. And, we want to open our doors to as many people as possible. And, people have to work. And so they can't get off till late, so that's why we keep our registration open later. And it's an idea, maybe you could say this is 100-player only field, but I don't know a single casino that does that.
Would seem like stopping selling hamburgers at McDonald's at a certain level is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have another question from Hubie here, actually a longtime member and excellent contributor to our YouTube chat week after week. He said, is there another casino that's kind of viewed as the main competitor for poker-related games? You say you guys kind of have found your niche, but is there another casino that's in the same kind of space as you guys?
Oh, yeah, 100% the South Point.
Oh, yeah. South Point's the one. And
100%.
And is it just because you're catering to the same stakes, the same sort of like cross section of recreational and professional players?
Yes. Yeah. We the one thing we have that the South Point doesn't is the mixed game community, and it's just because Jason doesn't have the tables. And I know, they've looked and Jason's begged to get more tables, and I love you, Jason, but I hope you don't get more tables.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's funny. It's such a small world, the poker world. So we're all connected to each other. We have relationships with each other. We're all kind of rooting for each other, even when we're, competing for the same space. Like we all want the poker world to do well. So I love the way that you.
And it's funny you say that because I'm sure you've heard there's some casinos that are really struggling with guarantees this year, and they've changed their guarantees. They've changed their schedules. Nobody in the poker world wants that.
Right.
As somebody who's been through it, nobody wants it because the backlash is horrible. You've promised a product to a person, your customer, and now you can't deliver. Mm-hmm. It's like going to McDonald's saying, sorry, we're out of hamburgers. We're out of French fries. You don't want to ever do that.
Barbara, I just have to point out, you went to hamburgers and French fries, and you didn't mention anything about the ice cream machines. I thought that was very wise of you.
Well, I have to tell you a very funny story. My husband got...
Uh-oh.
Her husband said, we will not have this interview. This interview is over.
That's right. Yeah, we're not letting that out. Oh, that's funny.
I think McDonald's is censoring this podcast.
Well, we had a good run there. I'd like to get Barbara back, even if it's only to play Stake Study Stack, because we did get some good
But
suggestions.
we didn't talk about Poker Gives yet.
I know that's the other. Yeah, I've still got
Yeah,
Poker Gives
right.
in the queue here. Tell you what, while we're
Are
waiting
we
for
there?
Barbara to
There we go.
Oh,
I'm back.
hey, there
We're
we
back
are. We're
again.
back. Okay,
So,
fantastic.
so I just have
Funny
to
story
tell you
from
a
your
quick
husband.
story.
Yeah.
My husband absolutely loved ice cream cones from McDonald's, and he always loved mine because I knew how to clean the machines properly, and I taught my crew how to change the machines properly. So, because if you don't clean them and put the O bands on properly, you will get an icy ice cream cone. So,
And
Nice
bacteria.
working. Yeah, true.
yeah,
All sorts of problems, right?
yep.
This is nice. You're taking us behind the curtain in all sorts of different ways, Barbara. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Now let's talk about your work at Poker Gives. So Poker Gives is it's a phenomenal charity. It's been around for quite a while. I know one of the main ways that they contribute charitably is through distributing food to those in need. Can you just share a little bit about your own journey with Poker Gives and what you think it does best and how our listeners can support your mission there?
Well, I'll try to make it as quickly as possible. But, in 2013, I lost a very dear friend. She was a victim of domestic abuse.
Hmm.
So I went to Shade Tree. We took Santa Claus, and a little girl danced around with a doll that she got and said, "Mommy, Santa Claus came here for Christmas." And I was like, tears in my eyes. I will do this for the rest of my life. It just changed my life. And so I started out on G Street in the historic West Side with a church, handing out. I was doing clothing, and then COVID hit, and the church didn't show up. And the the homeless people were still there, and they're like, "Do you have any food?" And I'm like, "Let me go buy you some pizzas." So I went and bought pizzas, and that's kind of the history of how we got into the food. And as I look right now, I got this huge team of volunteers. I am at 200 East Four Master. Monday nights are the nights we serve, and we have these volunteers, and they have been unloading my truck, unloading my trailer, setting up the food table, and there are families standing in line waiting for food. And because Las Vegas has a horrible, horrible housing problem, there's not enough affordable housing. We're 80,000 units short. It's also 110 degrees out there.
Hmm.
Last year, there were over 500 heat related deaths in the valley. So we bring out Kool-Aid, we bring out lemonade, we bring out 15 cases of water, and we make sure everybody's hydrated because we tell them, look, it's hot outside. Go to the end of the line, get something to drink. Don't pass out. We've had to call the paramedics, not only for the people in our line, but for the people who serve on our line
Hmm.
because it's so hot. And I got these little neck things that Lupe bought, and you put them around your neck, and they
Yeah.
keep you nice and cool, and they're miraculous. But, Poker Gives is a great organization. We work with the Care Complex. We work with Maryville 28 West Owens at Restoration and Reformation. And we work with Kim Henderson, setting the captives free. Because I always say it takes a village. And we all work together to serve those who are in need. Because, you know, maybe they just need a meal today. And tomorrow they'll have a house. We've seen lots of people come through who are waiting on housing who, or who have a house but are food insecure. We also work with one of our sidelines is Vegas Youth Network. We go into Title I schools, and um, I learned about ketchup soup. I didn't know about this. The kids take ketchup packets home because that's all they're going to eat on the weekends.
Mhm.
And there are food pantries in most every school in Las Vegas, and we try to work with them. I just there's a national food to donate program. I just picked up food from Trader Joe's on Sunday, Father's Day, gave it to Chaplain Mel, and they fed over 50 families with all that food and gave them food to take home. Um, so, we do what we can. Olive Garden supports it. Red Lobster, McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Yard House. We get rice from them. We get Parsley Mediterranean Grill. They give us the gyro meat. At the end of the day, they don't reuse that. They give it to us. We take it and I put it with some beef broth and some noodles, and I serve beef and noodles. So we get a lot of donations from companies that really funds us as far as the food goes. The only thing we spend money on is the plates and the Kool-Aid for the people. Not one of our people are paid. We're 100% volunteer organization, so we don't have any admin fees. So if you donate to Poker Gives, it goes straight to our programs.
That's fantastic. And this is why we always encourage folks to help support local food banks, because they typically have low overhead, they're volunteer driven, they're donation driven. I had the pleasure of being out there on one of those Monday nights last year with Sammy Gruber and her dad Bobby, and some other fun friends from the poker world. And it really is humbling to see this army of volunteers that shows up. And a lot of us, it was our first time. We didn't really know what to do, but we were eager to help, and you guys put us to work. And it just felt like hundreds of local citizens who really, really benefited from not only the food, but the touch point, I think, and sort of a lot of great stories and a lot of very appreciative people. And it's just clearly a successful program, and you're just clearly helping so many people. It's very impressive.
Yeah, we're up to about 800 people every Monday night now.
Wow. I mean, it's just fantastic. And kudos to the organizations that are supporting what you're doing by donating the food at the end of the night, or whatever the different programs are that you're working through. It really is a shining light. Like you were saying earlier in the show, Barbara, it's great to have this positive point in the poker world that we can all appreciate and enjoy the goodness that we see in our fellow poker players and in our fellow.
And I just want to give a shout out to all our volunteers, the ladies in Sun City Anthem. There's a group of 20 women up there that cook every week. There's people, Jill Lopez helped me out today. Roxy was cooking so that I could do the podcast and I didn't have to cook, because normally I cook on Mondays. So they came over the house. They took food to their house. Whatever it takes to do, we make it happen. So I just big shout out to anybody who's come out. And, I do love when you guys come down. If you're in Vegas, come join us Monday nights, 5:00, 200 East Four Master. I always say the people receiving give more to us than we give to them.
No, it's a wonderful experience, and I would encourage anyone, if you're in Las Vegas on a Monday, to go and participate. You'll do some good for the world, and you'll feel better at the end of it as well. Barbara, we're going to jump into Stake Study Stack in just a minute, but first, is there one website, or is there a place that people can go to support what you do at Poker Gives, or to contribute or to volunteer? Is there one place you'd like to send them if they're listening?
Well, go to our Facebook page or go to pokergives.org, hit the donate button, go straight to our account. Again, that's pokergives.org, or check us out on Facebook, Twitter. I run all the social media. I'm not real good at it. I try to keep up, but it's a lot to do. Plus work a full-time job and take care of 11 dogs.
Yeah, the 11 dogs. I mean, Joe, you've got a lot of catching up to do. I mean, I appreciate your efforts, but suddenly your cute little puppy isn't looking nearly as impressive.
Oh, he's adorable. I saw the picture. He's adorable.
Thank you. Barbara knows. Not like mean and evil Jim.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right. Well, Barbara, you've been so generous with your time. We're going to end the show like we always do by playing Stake, Study, or Stack. All right. So the way this works You may recall as a child playing Kiss, Marry, or Kill, or maybe you played a similar game to that or one that sounds like it. We're going to give you 3 names. You have to choose one that you would like to stake in a poker tournament or cash game, one that you would like to study with to help you improve as a player, and one that you'd really prefer to just stack them at the table and steal all their chips. Stake, study, stack. Are you ready for your 3 names?
I'm going to try.
All right, here we go. You definitely know all 3 of these characters. They are Linda Johnson, Matt Savage, and Ryan McNeil. Stake, study, or stack? What's it going to be, Barbara?
Oh, my God. Oh, Linda Johnson, study. Ryan McNeil, stake. And Matt Savage, sorry, buddy, I'm going to stack you.
There you go. I think you had a couple of those already pegged. I think your heart was very clear when it came to who was getting stacked there. I think that was a good one.
Well, it's kind of fun to be able to stack the head of the TDA, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for your time today and for all your efforts, not only in the poker community, but also, as you say, in the world of charitable giving, and particularly in feeding hungry people. That's something that no matter if you're right or left, old or young, up or down, you can all agree that hungry people deserve to have some food. And so we're all very appreciative for the work that you've done. I hope I get a chance to swing by the Orleans and get to shake your hand in person this summer. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to.
I hope so. And guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
We did too. Thank you so much for making time.
All right,
Thanks, Barbara, for all the work you're doing.
All right, we're going to go serve some homeless people now.
All right, go knock them dead. All right, there we go. Barbara Jones Zangaro, everybody. That was a fantastic interview. I knew we were going to enjoy that. Such an interesting character, and so plugged into these different parts of the poker world. So I really enjoyed that. I knew we would. John Somsky, why don't you take us through some recent home game winners, and then we can roll on out of here. This has been a fun show. Oh, and he is muted. Of course, the one and only John Somsky in Somsky mode. We got him, folks. We got him. We did it. Here we got him again. All right, jump in.
You didn't hear me making any. You didn't hear my coughs or sneezes while.
No, that was very considerate.
On the whole, I still think this is the most beneficial way to do things. Okay, on June 11th, we had our Mixed Game Championship Series. That's where we keep track of the Player of the Year points for the entire year. And Maddie Bumpo, Kathleen Twomey, got her second mixed victory win of the year. However, JVT Twin Cities still maintains a lead in the Player of the Year points race.
Way to go, JV.
On June 9th, Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld, won a TOC tournament. This is his 4th lifetime TOC win. So that's pretty impressive.
That's hard to do. Nicely done.
Then we have Dan Rezgi, Daniel A, got his 4th nightly victory for the year. Isma got his or her 5th nightly victory for the year. John Lutzy got his 2nd nightly victory for the year. Nice. Shamu Star 27140, Roger Lamp got his 2nd nightly victory for the year. One Jack Flack, Brett got his 4th nightly victory for the year. Evil Roy CA, David Westerveld got his 6th international victory for the year. That's propelling him to 91 lifetime wins.
Wow.
So we still need to figure out what the gold achievement thing is going to be. I think he's most of the way there, probably.
No kidding. It can't be 100. He's making 100 appear way too reasonable. Like this
absolutely
is wild. Amazing.
Then we have D-Nice Aces. Denise Allen got her first international victory for the year. And LL Tahoe won the LPP event. So he or she can contact info@rec.poker for their free month at Learn Pro Poker.
That's right. This is one of the perks of playing in our home game club. It's not just these fancy schnazzy pins, but you can win some real prizes. The home games are free. The play money chips. But the prizes are real. And if you win our Sunday tournament, or if you bust Ryan LaPlante, who occasionally plays in our LPP Sunday evening tournament, then you win a free month at Learn Pro Poker. So come and check it out. We've got Evil Roy Slade, our own David Westerveld, in the YouTube chat here. He says he thinks there were 2 more tournament champion wins in double years, so 6 total. That's wow. The Tournament of Champions, folks. Just so we're perfectly clear. So John Somsky runs our home game club. John, you're too good a guy, by the way. It's amazing that the lengths that you go to in our home game club. This is one of the fantastic people that really make what we do here happen. We couldn't do it without you, John. And so there are 10 or 11 home games every single week. They're free to play. You can practice against your friends. And if you win any of them, you get invited back to the Tournament of Champions the following month. So even to get entered into the Tournament of Champions, you have to win a whole tournament. And so it's obviously a very tough field to get through. So to win multiple Tournament of Champions, that's how you get this beautiful little silver pin here in the middle. The bronze pins are great, but that silver pin, oh boy, that's a nice one. You do have to win, but you have to beat a bunch of other killers. Very, very impressive work, of course, by our man. All right, well then I think we've only got. Sorry, folks. Hard to believe we only got one person entering in the food bank raffle, so I think we're just going to skip it this week. But we would love to give away a fantastic prize. So next week, join us just like every week at 7:30 Eastern live on YouTube. And if we get a couple people throwing the words food bank into the YouTube chat, we've got tons of people watching the show. The chat is also free to type in, but I guess some folks just don't want to win a fantastic prize. You can lead a horse to water. Sorry, gang. We're going to wrap this puppy up and roll on out of here then, I guess. What was that, Joe?
Well, there's now 2, and Kim just said food bank, so I think we can actually probably do a spin.
All right. Okay,
I really feel bad for Hubie asking those great questions, and then he does everything he's supposed to, and you're like, hey, yeah, check with you.
All right. we were so close to getting out of here, but invisible producer Rob Gardner, we're being called out. Let's get Joe, Kim, and Hubie in the wheel of fame.
I need 30 seconds. Hang on.
Yeah, no problem.
Take it out.
Take your 30 seconds to get in there.
My boss told me no, and then
we're pivoting live.
He said really in charge.
He basically said, I call and then I raise, and I was just so confused as to what was going on. And then he came up to me and asked me if there was some weird word, if somebody wants to chop and there's like a grand prize. And
it's cheeseburger, goddammit.
I'm like,
the word
no
is
idea what he's
cheeseburger.
Talking about. So I'm all over the place. So hang on. I'm getting there as close as I can.
Is a real thing. So add those 3 names, you smart aleck.
In Seattle, it's banana.
Okay, so it's okay. In Seattle, it's banana. There we go. I was like knowing that it is a real thing. It's definitely a real thing. All right, let's spin the wheel. And if
we're adding
food bank. Yeah.
We're adding banana to the wheel, and if it shows up banana, Jim has to wear a banana outfit on the next podcast. All right, here we go.
Banana.
Now I really want it to land on food bank. So close. It's not going to make it. No, Kim Kilroy. Ooh, that was close. That was close. I was not looking forward to the banana.
But would there really be a big difference if you were dressed like
this
a banana?
Is pretty banana.
I mean, you've got the colors down already.
This is pretty banana already, folks. That's a great point, John. I was going to go there myself.
Well, the Steelers taking
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is bananas.
Oh my god!
I think we have
that is bananas. That I've already made my peace with it. It took like only a few hours to be like, fine. Let's just get through the season. We're drafting the quarterback of the future in 2026 anyway. Next year's draft, it's in Pittsburgh. We got a buttload of picks ready to trade. We're moving up. We're getting the guy, whoever the guy is. I don't know who it is. But
hey, Jim, how often can you say that your favorite team's starting quarterback is older than you? I mean, that's...
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah,
that's. I wish. I think he may have a little more salt in the pepper, but I think I got him beat. Kim says that she'll donate her prize to see me in the banana outfit. Okay, we're gonna have to talk offline. We'll see if we can take this. Let's see if we take this train wreck conversation into a wrecking crew meeting. Fantastic work here, folks. Great contributions from the wrecking crew chat. Great to see all these wonderful folks contributing along and having fun and being part of the Rec Poker podcast in real time. It could be you. Join us next Monday night at 7:30 Eastern. All right. I want to thank Barbara Jones Zangaro, Joe Coolis, Scott Lum, John Somsky, and invisible producer Rob Gardner. I want to thank everyone in the YouTube chat, all our Wrecking Crew members, all our fantastic premium members, and you, the listeners at home. Thanks for doing all you do to keep Rec Poker great. We'll see you next week on the Rec Poker Podcast. Good night, everybody.